What if God is telling you not to give up on him? What if God is telling you to not give up on your husband? What if he's saying, please do not stop praying and interceding for him? This word is not for everybody, but it's for some people. It's for a lot of you, but it's not for everybody. God knows what your husband is going through. He knows the battles. He knows the struggles. He knows the things he's fighting in the dark. He knows how the enemy is attacking him. He knows what happened to him when he was a kid, what happened to him as a teenager. He knows the burdens that he carries. He knows the insecurities that he has. He knows that he doesn't know what he wants in life. He knows that the enemy is tormenting him and bullying him. He knows. And he also knows that there's only one real person fighting for him in the spirit, and that's you. Now, he may have a praying mama, which would be great. But the two of you are one flesh. And in the spiritual realm, God sees the two of you as one flesh, and so does the enemy. And the enemy is trying his best to divide the two of you, divide and conquer. He knows that if you are offended, he knows that if you are upset, that you will stop praying, that you will not fight for your husband the same way you would if everything is going okay. The enemy knows and is banking on you not praying and fighting and interceding for your husband if you are sitting in offense. And what if God is like, please do not give up on my son? Because you are the only one praying for him. You are the only one standing in the gap for him. You are the only one interceding for him. You are the only one that sees the problems that he has. You might not know everything that's going on with him, but you know there's something going on. I watched this video clip, and I'm going to insert it, of the incomparable CeCe Winans from the Winans family, gospel legends, gospel royalty. And they were raised in the church. They raised their kids in the church. And her son walked away from the faith. Her son went over to Australia, and on a plane ride over, he said, either God or the devil, anybody can have me. Do you know what kind of pain you have to be in to say something like that? Anyway, watch this clip.
It was a clip. I don't know how old it is. I would love if you reshared it here. It was about you praying for your son.
I knew he wasn't where he needed to be in the Lord, but he wanted to try living abroad, and I didn't want him to go. And even on his flight over there, he told God, whoever gets me first, me or the devil, that's the way I'm going.
Wow.
So I looked at my husband, I was like, you gonna let him go? He's like, bae, he is grown, and this is what he wants to do. So we're gonna pray for him, and we're gonna trust God. And when I say he was messed up, he was messed up. He was living in sin. Yeah. But he goes into this little church, and God gets a hold of him. He said the pastor came up to him and said, I don't know who you are. You're spiritually dull. And they began to prophesy over him. The next time he called us, he said, God is real.
Wow.
And so I was like, well, I've been telling you that all your life. And when he left, of course, I'm praying, crying out to God, Lord, bring my son home, bring him home. And then when I got that call, and I could hear it in his voice, and I was just like, okay. So when I hung up, I was like, Lord, he ain't never got to come back. God took him and just transformed him. He came back home saying, we got to fast, we got to pray. And I'm just like, who is this person? And I just began to thank God. And I remember the Holy Spirit saying, I did all of this and you were nowhere around. Woo! And I said, you did.
Yeah.
I love to encourage parents to just trust God.
She said, just trust God. She had no idea what God was doing behind the scenes. She had no idea the plans that God had for him. In her particular case, for her son, in her particular case, God was waiting for him in a chapel in Australia. Now, I don't know the plans that God has for your husband, and neither do you, but trust in God. She was praying for her son. And one thing I know about us mama bears is that we will never give up praying for our children, not never. But what about the men that we are considered one flesh with? Because from the spiritual realm, God sees us as one flesh, and so does the enemy. And the enemy is banking on you to give up and let go of that man that you are married to so he can have him. But when it comes to our husbands, our kids can offend us and you're still going to pray. But when it comes to our husbands, it depends on the day. It depends on what he said to you. It depends on how he's acting. It depends on how much he's offended you, will determine how much you will pray for him. Our job is to pray. Our job is to intercede. Our job is to put on that full armor. Our job is to cover him. Our job is to plead the blood over him. But our job is to let go and let God. And you have to have a relationship with the Lord to know what that looks like. And for some of you, your husband is walking in error and your husband is walking in sin. Continue to pray. She had to let him go. And that's what many of us wives have to do. We have to trust God and let go of our husbands, because God's plans are God's plans. And we can get in the way of that. He has a strategy, and he's going to move on your behalf and behalf of your prayers, because he is mighty and he is powerful. And he loves your husband more than you do. And he knows what's going on in the background. He knows what he's struggling with. He knows he's depressed. He knows he's struggling with suicidal thoughts. He knows he's struggling with addictions to corn and addiction to drugs and alcohol. He knows the things that he's going through every single day. I don't know the timeline. You don't know the timeline. But what we do know is that God's timing is always perfect. So you stay in the Lord. You stay in the Word. You have a relationship with God. You build your relationship to be as strong as it can possibly be. You spend time in your Word. You spend time in worship. You spend time fasting when He's calling you to fast. You spend time praying. You spend time meditating on the Word. You spend time putting on that full armor. Not only for your husband, but for your family. God needs you to stand up to the bully that's bullying your husband and tormenting your husband and say, not today, not him, not that one, my husband? No, no, you're not going to get me off my square. I'm going to continue to pray for him. I'm going to continue to intercede for him. I'm going to continue to battle for him. Many people say, I'm just waiting on God. I'm just waiting on God. What if God is waiting on you? He already has the blueprint. He already has the strategy. He just needs you to tag him in. He just needs you to let him in. Surrender your husband to him. Continue to pray for him. Continue to intercede for him. God has a plan. Just saying. Wife out.